be no more tears in heaven.
Some of the most celebrated voices in music history built their legacies not in spite of suffering, but because of it. Tragedy has a way of reshaping everything: the art, the artist, and the audience that comes running. These are 10 artists who got famous after tragedy. If the stories behind the music move you, consider subscribing so you never miss a video like this. Number 10. 50 Cent. May 24, 2000. Outside his grandmother's house in South Jamaica, Queens, a car pulled up without warning. 9 shots fired at close range. All 9 connected. Curtis Jackson took bullets to his hand, arm, hip, legs, chest, and face. 1 pierced his jaw and left a permanent slur in his voice, the same voice that would go on to sell millions of records. Columbia Records dropped him immediately after the shooting. His debut album, Power of the Dollar, was shelved and never released.
Zipper, it's like it's a race who go get undressed quicker. Isn't it ironic how erotic it is to watch undawns?
The man who would become one of hip-hop's biggest stars was left without a label, without income, and very nearly without a future. He spent 6 weeks on a walker. He spent 5 months recovering. Then he started working on mixtapes, distributing them through bootleggers when no legitimate outlet would touch him. Eminem discovered the 2002 mixtape Guess Who's Back, signed him to Shady Records. And in 2003, Get Rich or Die Tryin' debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. The shooting had changed the concept of the album. The stakes, Jackson said, simply got higher.
Go ahead, girl, don't you stop. Keep going till you hit the spot.
Number 9. Tina Turner. 36 cents. That is all she had when she ran across a Dallas freeway on the night of July 1st, 1976, with bloodied clothes and a mobile gas station credit card. She had been performing for 20 years alongside a man who beat her with phones, shoes, and hangers, broke her jaw before shows, and controlled nearly every aspect of her professional life. When she finally fled Ike Turner at a Dallas hotel after a violent altercation in the back of a car, she forfeited royalties, real estate, recording studios, and almost everything she had built. She used food stamps, she cleaned houses, she played low-profile Vegas cabaret shows while booking agents told her she couldn't work without Ike.
Won't you help me make it through the night? Sing the song.
It took 8 years, but in 1984, at 44 years old, Private Dancer made her the biggest female rock star on the planet. She became the oldest female solo artist to top the Billboard Hot 100. The album spent 147 weeks on the UK charts. 147. Oh. Number 8. Eric Clapton. In the recovery room of a New York hospital in March of 1991, Eric Clapton learned that his 4-year-old son had fallen from a 53rd floor window. He had been preparing to pick the boy up for lunch and a trip to the Central Park Zoo when the call came. Clapton had been sober for only 3 years. The death of Connor could have ended that. It didn't. He isolated himself for 9 months, traveling between England and Antigua, attending sobriety meetings, and returning slowly to the guitar. He channeled the grief into a film scoring job, saw a scene that needed a song about loss, and wrote one, directly about his boy.
And I'll say yes, I feel wonderful.
Tears in Heaven reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It won 3 Grammy Awards in 1993, including Song of the Year and Record of the Year. The Unplugged album, it appeared on topped charts in the United States, Japan, and Australia. More than 2,800,000 physical and digital copies of the single were sold, making it one of the best-selling pop singles of the entire decade.
'Cause I know I don't belong here in heaven.
Number 7. Jonathan Larson.
Tension. I said I wanted an omelet with no yolks. That's why you're just a waiter.
On January 25, 1996, Jonathan Larson died of an aortic aneurysm. He was 35 years old. He had spent years writing musicals that went nowhere, working as a waiter at the Moondance Diner in New York City to pay his rent, while he built what he believed would be his masterpiece. That masterpiece was Rent, a rock opera set among broke artists in Lower Manhattan fighting to survive and create. The show performed its first off-Broadway preview the night after he died. Word spread. The audience knew.
The Fender guitar he hasn't played in a year. Swamp tune, so we hear. He's just coming back.
Rent transferred to Broadway and became a cultural phenomenon. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and 4 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, all in 1996, all after Jonathan Larson was gone. Some legacies arrive exactly on time. His arrived exactly 1 day too late.
Don't scream, Maureen, it's me, Joanne, your substitute production.
Number 6. Otis Redding. The plane carrying Otis Redding and 6 members of his touring group, the Bar-Kays, crashed into Lake Monona near Madison, Wisconsin on December 10, 1967. Redding was 26 years old. He had just performed a show that drew one of the strongest audience responses of his career, and the music industry was beginning to take serious notice. He had recorded Sittin' on the Dock of the Bay just days before the crash, a reflective, gentle song that marked a new direction for his sound.
I know she's waiting, just anticipating.
The single was released in January of 1968. It became his first and only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100, spending 4 weeks at the top and selling over 1 million copies within weeks of release. Redding was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988. He received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. The man died before he knew how large his legacy was about to become.
Do me wrong, but while I'm gone, all I'm asking for a little respect when I come.
We are halfway through the countdown, and these stories are only getting more remarkable. Drop a comment and let us know where you are watching from, and tell us which of these artists surprised you the most. Back to the list. Number 5. Ian Curtis. Dead at 23. Joy Division's lead singer Ian Curtis had epilepsy, a deteriorating marriage, and a dependency on phenobarbital, a medication used to control his seizures that produced intense mood instability. The band had spent 2 years building a ferociously loyal following in the United Kingdom and across Europe. Their debut album, Unknown Pleasures, released in June of 1979, was met with fierce critical praise. By the spring of 1980, the band had booked their first American tour, set to launch on May 19, 1980. The night before departure, on May 18, 1980, Curtis hanged himself at his Macclesfield home. He was found the following morning by his estranged wife, Deborah. The tour was canceled. The remaining members, Bernard Sumner, Peter Hook, and Stephen Morris, eventually reformed as New Order, and Ian Curtis's voice became one of the most studied, most referenced sounds in post-punk history. Unknown Pleasures has since sold over 4 million copies and sits on virtually every authoritative list of the greatest albums ever recorded. Number 4. Bradley Nowell and Sublime. Riding a wave of creative momentum in the spring of 1996, Bradley Nowell and his Long Beach band Sublime had finally finished a self-titled third album that perfectly captured the sun-bleached, ska-infused sound of Southern California's underground. A record that ska punk fans had been waiting years for, but Nowell's growing heroin addiction had been shadowing everything. And on May 25, 1996, he was found unresponsive in a San Francisco hotel room, dead from an overdose at 28 years old, just weeks before his album was set for release, before any major label radio push had begun, before most of America had even heard the band's name. The self-titled album was released 2 months later. It reached the top 20 on the Billboard 200. It sold over 17 million copies worldwide. The band's back catalog surged. What I Got, Santeria, and Wrong Way became radio staples for the next decade. Sublime became one of the best-selling acts of the 1990s, long after the man who built them was gone. Number 3. Jim Croce.
It happens every time. Think about the love that
17 months. That was the window Jim Croce had between his commercial breakthrough and his death. You Don't Mess Around with Jim, released in 1972, finally gave the Pennsylvania folk singer the traction that years of struggle had denied him. His fourth album, Life and Times, was climbing the charts in the fall of 1973 when a chartered Beechcraft E-18 crashed into a pecan tree on takeoff near Natchitoches, Louisiana, on September 20th, 1973. Croce died at 30. Every person on board was killed. What happened next was extraordinary.
and the babies cry. I got a song.
Time in a Bottle, a tender song Croce had written for his son, hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December of 1973. I Got a Name and I'll Have to Say I Love You in a Song. Both charted in 1974, 3 posthumous chart hits, a career that bloomed entirely after its creator was already gone.
On the blow, learn to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself.
Number 2, Eva Cassidy.
I love you. Each memory.
A single phone call changed everything. In late 1998, BBC Radio 2 DJ Paul Walters played a recording by an artist almost no one outside of Washington, D.C. had ever heard of. The song was Over the Rainbow. The artist was Eva Cassidy. Listener response was immediate. Phones lit up. Letters arrived at the station. People wanted to know who she was.
Have pity on those whose chances of love.
Cassidy had died 2 years earlier, in November of 1996, of melanoma at 33 years old. She had released only one album in her lifetime. Her posthumous compilation, Songbird, shot to #1 on the UK charts. It spent years in the top 20. Eva Cassidy had been gone for 2 years before the world discovered her. She has since sold millions of records across dozens of countries, and her recording of Fields of Gold remains one of the most beloved vocal performances in contemporary folk and jazz.
See, there once was a boy.
Number 1, Nick Drake.
What is true seems so sad for you.
In the autumn of 1974, a young British folk singer named Nick Drake was found dead in his childhood bedroom in Tanworth-in-Arden, England. He was 26 years old. The cause was an overdose of antidepressants. He had made 3 albums, 5 Leaves Left, Brighter Later, and Pink Moon, and sold so few copies that he reportedly never received a royalty check. He hated performing live. He rarely gave interviews. By the time he died, he was virtually unknown outside a small circle of devoted listeners.
When the day is done.
Then, in 1999, a Volkswagen television commercial used Pink Moon. No voiceover, no explanation, just the song, playing quietly over images of young people driving at night. Viewers went looking. They found 3 albums of extraordinary depth and beauty. Sales surged across all 3 records, 25 years after they were made.
Thing that's past. Do you find things are moving?
Kate Bush, Rem, Norah Jones, and Beck have all cited Drake as an influence. He never knew. He never heard the applause. But the music waited, patient and unhurried, until the world caught up.